Yeah, so I've been lucky enough to be involved with the Nottingham Queer Arts Collective for the last 3 years as their outreach coordinator. Having seen the impact in Nottingham, I really wanted to create a space for Derby and Derbyshire members of the community, because growing up especially, I didn't feel there was a space for me. So, and the great thing about having sort of the seed funding and the support of the first year is just we've established that, if nothing else, we'll be a group that meets every other month for a cup of tea or a glass of wine, dare I say, and just make space, hold space, and encourage members of the community to come together, share ideas, network, and socialise. It's a bit of a common thread for me, because when I started doing what I do now, especially performance-based stuff, I was going out of Derby and Derbyshire to do LGBT events or to do poetry nights or to do kind of, queer activity and sort of just build my kind of repertoire up of doing LGBT nights in Sheffield, Birmingham, Leicester, London. So I think it ties into that. I think I was mindful of just seeing the impact of literally just people coming together, holding space and being supportive, and seeing what was coming out of that collective in Nottingham. We are a fluid collective. We move from place to place, and I'm very keen to keep that fluidity going forward. But the flip side of that is, is there a model of working where we find partners in Amber Valley and Derbyshire especially, where we say, right, okay, rather than go 1, 2, 3, 4, we aim for 3 in Ripley, 3 in Heanor, 3 in Alfreton, because we're getting the interest in the venues. But I just think in hindsight, moving around, doing the one, and then say, right, next month we're here, while we've hoped to engage the hyper-local residents and community members, that hasn't necessarily, unfortunately, led to people going from, I've been to Ripley, I'll come to Heanor next month, I'll come to Alfreton next month. This was the first one outside of Derby, I think. So I think it was the second one we'd done, and it was a Thursday night or a Tuesday night. So we kind of decked out the cafe space, had some music on. We had some writing prompts and some bits and pieces created to get involved, some rainbow flags and pride flags up on the walls. How was I feeling that moment? Optimistic. Yeah, mindful of where I was, and mindful of not wanting to sort of preempt or add any stereotypes or expect anything because of where I was. But we had 2 Derbyshire LGBT staff come down to support the event who lived in the area. That's the whole thing. It was about, the collective, the connection. So the fact they'd taken, they are local, they're Heanor residents, which is great. They come down in their own time to support the event and have a cup of tea, which was lovely. And, there was about 3 or 4 of us, talking about kind of the area and what it's like going on and what we're trying to achieve, and talking about the collective. And then one of the 2 staff members started talking about a project they've wanted to get off the ground for donkeys. And, and the night basically became the sort of the group sat around the table just exploring how we might do this and what's available and what would we need. And the challenge, but the joy was always meeting new artists, supporting new artists, collective in the true sense of the word. And this is the great thing about the Amber Valley element especially. Gifted us time to sit down over a cup of tea or a glass of wine, breathe, plan, and just go, right, how might we do this? How do we support each other? And the flip side of that is people are approaching saying, we've seen you do something in Heanor, can we have a chat? We've seen you've done this in Ripley, can we have a chat? So I think what I'm really trying to do now, I'm very mindful. I've had a few people say, this is Dan's collective. And I'm going, no, it's not. And I really say, I pause and say, it's not my collective. I am organising it currently, but it has to be owned by the collective, by the community. So I've really kind of moved away, and I've really kind of not told people off by any means, but I've said, look, just to clarify, it's not my collective, it's the Derby and Derbyshire collective. So what I'm trying to achieve now is sort of build that momentum, but also find those people who are able and in a position to give their time to support, to say, right, how might we do this? What do we want to do? But also who's able to come and help me put up flags before the night, or help me put chairs out in that cafe space or that community centre, So phase 2, if you like, is building up those interested parties who are able to support, raising awareness, and finding partners where we can talk and say, right, can we come and do 3 nights across a year, or can we come and do, Ripley Co-op, for example, has been amazing. They said, right, how often do you want to do this? 1924, same thing, how often do you want to do this? Thinking about that first year, evaluating, reflecting, and then going, right, how often do we run? How might it work? And who are those people who've attended who may be interested in supporting further?